After B and I had emerged from the Shogaike forest, the news quickly spread throughout the village. Without uttering a word, the worn-out state of our clothes seemed to provide enough clues, leading us immediately to the main shrine of the village. Every villager had already been summoned, creating a peculiar atmosphere. The head priest declared,
"First, we will purify the entities that have haunted you. Be prepared for some hardship."
With those words, B and I were forcibly given drinks containing alcohol and vinegar, and salt was applied to our bodies. Simultaneously struck forcefully on our backs, we both vomited something. In the candlelight, our vomit revealed countless strands of hair in mine, and B expelled several pieces of paper resembling talismans. As writing characters on our backs, the head priest's family initiated a purification chant. B and I vomited repeatedly, and within the vomit there were insect-like creatures. After hours of purification, they had us take a bath and then return to the main shrine. The head priest instructed,
"Now tell us what you've been up to."
Under the scrutinizing gazes of the head priest, his family, and the villagers, B and I explained our experiences. During our narrative, the head priest struck us forcefully. Once the head priest's wife, A's mother, heard the entire story, she fainted. Our parents remained bowed throughout. Feeling that I had caused trouble for my parents and relatives, I expected persecution from the village. The head priest remarked,
"The more we hear, the more unbelievable it becomes. However, what we are about to tell you will be even more unbelievable. Listen carefully."
Summarizing the information shared by the head priest and his family, the hut we visited was part of a local legend known as the Oni Hut legend. Most villagers were familiar with this legend, and among those who listened to B's and my story, many commented, "So, the hut really exists?" Or, back in the day, "We searched for it tirelessly." According to the head priest, this hut wasn't just a legend. It truly existed. However, it seems that one cannot go to the hut unless invited by the hut's existence itself, and the priest himself has apparently tried to find this hut in the past. The invitation seemed to work on a subconscious level. If someone entered the forest with a purpose other than the hut would appear instead of the intended destination. In summary, we were lured to the hut, which prevented us from reaching our intended destination, Shogaike Pond, or the shrine in the forest. According to the elder of the priest family, the hut is called Oni Hut, meaning demon hut, but the inhabitants inside are not demons or ghosts. Inside the hut reside entities known as shoja. There are two shoja living in the hut, a male and a female, who were originally human. The village's folklore recounts an incident several hundred years ago when the village was struck by natural disasters like landslides and flooding, leading to famine. During this famine, a male villager, driven to extremes by hunger, kidnapped a female villager, confining and abusing her in a hut deep in the forest. The man, in a state of extreme starvation, subjected the captive woman to violence, reducing her to a state of virtual slavery. Ultimately, due to malnutrition and physical exhaustion, the woman succumbed to starvation. The hungry man, deprived of any other option, resorted to cannibalism, consuming her flesh. This act triggered a series of events where the man continued to kill and consume other female villagers, some while still alive. This violent cycle led to a breakdown in the sanity of the villagers, with roles reversed between the sexes. The once victimized female villagers turned the tables, killing and consuming the male villagers. As the population dwindled from hundreds to a handful, the man who ate the last female villager reportedly committed suicide in the cabin deep within the forest. The man who committed suicide was the male shoja of the hut, and the woman who was assaulted, killed, and eaten first was the female shoja. It seems that both powers of these shoja were haunting B and me. B was haunted by the power of the male shoja, while I was by the power of the female shoja. In the village in which people had all disappeared, the ancestors of the current head priest's family, the first-generation head priest, moved in later and built a shrine to become the village's protective deity at the beginning of the village's restoration. After performing water burials for the bones of the villagers left in houses and streets in the pond deep in the village, they sealed the grudges of the villagers gathered in the pond, named it Shogaike Pond, and bound the pond itself with the name. To ensure that their power would protect the village for generations, the first-generation head priest sealed his power in a stone and built a shrine in the depths of the forest to worship that stone. They sealed the second-floor door of the cabin in the deep forest where strong grudges linger, and sealed the cabin itself beyond the recognition of humans. However, the sealing beyond recognition was limited by the power of the first-generation head priest, creating a vulnerability that could be exploited if someone were to be invited. The first-generation head priest referred to this hut as the Oni hut, and called the occupants inside Shoja. To mourn the villagers who died in this village, to protect the villagers living in this village from the demon, and to prevent the demon born in this village from going to the outside world, they left the festival for the entire village held at the shrine on August 15th, namely the Tensei Festival, Oninashi Odori, and Joen Kagura. In the process of preparing to pass down the village's traditions, the first-generation head priest left 3 minimum prohibitions to mend some gaps that were born. The first head priest, aiming to ensure the village's eternal protection, passed down the village's traditions to those who had moved there, namely the ancestors of the current villagers. For a long time, the village's traditions had been passed down. But one year, a family who learned about the village's traditions went to the shrine in the forest, and a situation occurred where they tried to obtain the power of the first-generation head priest. For some reason, they seemed to believe that if they broke the stone in the forest shrine, they would also gain his power. Thanks to a villager who learned of the family's plot and reported it to the head priest's family, the family's actions were prevented before it was too late. The family who tried to gain power was expelled from the village after being ostracized, then failed in their human relationships, accumulated large debts, and finally committed mass suicide as a family. As a result of this incident, the policy changed to not leave most of the forest shrines and the village's traditions to the villagers. From this generation onwards, the management was entrusted only to the head priest's family, and seals were placed around the forest shrine. The B family at that time ignored this policy, and it seems that they were transmitting the existence of the forest shrine within the family. B learned of this existence through his parents' conversation. The sealing on the forest shrine weakens on August 14th, so the current head priest performs a resealing every year alone. According to the head priest, the resealed seal does not weaken until August 14th of the following year, but with some means involving strong malice, it is possible to destroy this seal and obtain the power of the first-generation head priest. Priest said,
This situation has exposed the secrets our family hid from the villagers. Under normal circumstances, the B family should be expelled from the village, but we don't have the luxury to deal with that now.
A member of the priest's family addressed the priest.
Preparations are complete to go to the hut where A is imprisoned.
Understood. Our entire family will go to rescue A. We haven't been informed of how the first-generation priest unsealed the recognition-based barrier on the hut, so only you two, who have been called by the hut, can go there again. Frankly, there's no guarantee that my daughter is still alive. It might already be too late, but please help us.
We will definitely bring A back to this place. Please trust us, I assured.
Even though I'm the one who broke the taboo, I consider this my destiny.
B continued.
We'll accompany you part way. If you find A, immediately make her drink this purifying water, attach this talisman to her back, sprinkle purifying salt over her entire body, and recite the incantation when the Shoja appears.
The incantation should momentarily halt the Shoja. If it doesn't work, just run and come back to us. Don't forget that you can't stop no matter what happens.
Understood.
Understood.
B and I braced ourselves. August 15th, Tensei Festival Day at 1 a.m. B, the head priest's family, and I are on the path leading to Shogaike. The head priest's family consists of several dozen people, and I find them reliable. We too will go on alone from here, I said. B affirmed.
We will definitely rescue her.
The priest's family member chimed in.
We're counting on you.
The priest added.
Don't forget what I've taught you.
Yes.
B and I then proceeded down a single animal trail. As we moved, the sounds from the mountain animals gradually disappeared. Are we getting close? I wondered aloud.
Seems like it.
When we emerged from the darkness, a hut was in front of us. Silently, B and I performed a final check of our equipment. I muttered.
What's wrong?
I was just wondering when I packed the scissors.
The shears, you mean? Maybe they'll be useful for something.
Right. B and I make final preparations for the operation. Here's the plan. B and I will enter the hut together. If there's a shouja in the lower room, B will handle them. In the meantime, I'll go upstairs to rescue A. If there's a shouja upstairs, I'll detain them, bring A down, and run through to the head priest's family while protecting B and A. It's not much of a plan, but we felt it was the only way to proceed. Let's go.
Yeah.
Raising our voices, B and I rushed into the hut together.